A lot of developers of games do not care about the game the same way as gamers do. And that might sound harsh, but that isn't a passion issue. That's an incentive issue. These developers aren't incentivized to give you certain games. And this universal truth, especially pertaining to the Western audience, is led a lot of games to flop tremendously. But it goes deeper than that. And in today's video, I'm going to use certain gaming companies as an example of each one of these problems that is plaguing this one singular big idea. The first one I'm going to use is miHoYo, and the idea we're going to discuss is retention versus quality. In one of my earlier videos, I had this very insightful comment about the difference between Honkai Impact and Genshin Impact. Honkai being the game that they spent the most time on and really wanted to push to people, and Genshin being the cash cow that just happened to happen during COVID. And this fundamentally changed the rules inside of miHoYo to, hey, let's make a game everyone will like, to, hey, let's make a game we can make a bunch of money on, which they were doing in droves with people summoning the characters. So that changes your action adventure RPG into a casino slot simulation. And to mimic a slot machine, you're going to need something amazing as money. The only thing that is amazing as money to people like us who play action adventure RPG games is waifus. So you got to make them OP, insanely strong, and most importantly, extremely desirable for someone's account. Here's what you don't do. You don't make the story better. You don't make older granny waifus just as strong as the new ones. And most importantly, you never, ever admit a mistake. When the last time y'all seen a casino admit a mistake? You know a problem that a casino doesn't have that an action RPG game has? People coming back. The casinos have no problem doing that. And Genshin has no problem with people coming back each and every patch. That's their retention. They want retention more than quality. And that's just fine for miHoYo, but if other people try to copy that formula, they might run into some problems. Let's go to number 2. Another way that gaming studios aren't really incentivized to give us what we want is hype versus expectations. And Wildlight Studios is a perfect example of that. They are the geniuses that brought us Highguard. Now, if you let the leadership at Wildlight Studios tell it, they never wanted the hype and they never wanted to be in the spotlight this hard, even though they were literally the last spot at the video game awards that has millions of people watching. But we are going to focus on the fact that they had that hype and what they decided to do with the expectations that people had from the game. First and foremost, they caught a huge break having that big announcement at the awards because it really highlighted the confusion of the game that people were saying online. Instead of looking at the online criticism as maybe something that people might actually run into, dealing with their game, they saw it as negative criticism from people who wasn't gonna even try their game anyway. I thought this was a big mistake because when the creators actually got their hands on the game, they were echoing a lot of the stuff that was being said when the game was dropped at the Video Game Awards. And they should have known that creators were always going to try their game no matter how bad it may or may not be, because the new marathon that's going to drop, the game marathon, it's going to be tried by a ton of creators, even though it had this rocky development cycle, because it is the exact genre where the biggest streamers are playing. In my mind, they wanted to take advantage of the positive press that they were getting from the game and not get none of the negatives from that amount of hype and advertisement. When the game dropped, they had 91,000 concurrent players. That is 100,000 players at the same time. That is great for a new game. The significant dip came from people not getting what they wanted from the game. It's a sign of bad faith to me just to think, oh, these are just bad actors who just wanted to tank our game all along. When there is a drought in the industry for these type of games, so these guys can play. You think these guys want to sit here and play the same game over and over? I don't think so, bud. Some studios believe in quantity over quality, and Ubisoft is the #1 example of this, and they're in quite a bit of trouble right now. For every Assassin's Creed game, there's like 3 to 4 what the hecks, and for every Division, there's like 7 or 8 shooters that we just didn't know they released. And within those good game series, there's like 10, 20 of them in the series, 6 or 7 for Far Cry, 3 Divisions almost gonna be in 2028 allegedly, and a bunch of canceled games in between. It is a extremely just unfocused developer and publisher. And within that jumble of games, there are some awesome franchises and games in particular that people really want to play in the Ubisoft catalog. But with this unfocused thing, it's hard for people to get what they want until years later, or worse, the game you think you're gonna get is canceled or delayed for another 2-3 years because they want to come out with a bike game. A lot of gamers leave series all the time and want to play something else. So what do developers do to supplicate this? Well, when someone leaves, you're going to need someone else to replace them. And what studios have figured out that you do not have to make the package any different from year to year because you're going to constantly keep getting an influx of new players. That's where the gaming studio visual concepts under the big umbrella 2K Games really shine, where they are immediately indoctrinating newer, younger players into their games each and every year. And they're incentivized to do this because the game doesn't change from year to year. So what's the best way to make a game that doesn't change that much from year to year seem new? Present it to someone who's completely new. While the older 2K players complain about the same things each and every year, you have this new baby that you can take advantage of and start squeezing money out of them. And most importantly, their parents are at the point of their life where they don't really care, or maybe even better yet, this is even better, they never play 2K at all. So all they know is that's the basketball game. Well, here you go. Here's all your money that you're gonna need, son. They are not really incentivized to fix any of the problems. They can create new problems out of the same old problems and fix them. Take out features, put them back in, left foot in, right foot out, do the hokey pokey and you dance a little bit. And finally, some studios just overpromise and collapse under the pressure. And the best example of that is Intrepid Studios, creators of Ashes of Creation. To create an MMO is already a huge promise. First and foremost, full stop. It is extremely hard and takes a ton of time. And this studio has had a bunch of time kickstarted by the many people who believed that they can do it, even though citing that when they started the project that they never actually done this before. Now, this is no problem with some beginner type of game, you know, like RPG, maybe an RPG Maker or something like that. This is a full-blown multi-million-dollar MMO. So yes, they overpromised. And even though they overpromised, they are not incentivized to finish the game, even though the creator went AWOL and they had to get rid of all their people, because that's the nature of the gaming industry. You can overpromise, screw over the fan base, and then the rest of the news cycle is about the people who lost their jobs. I think there is a ton of people in the gaming industry that care immensely for the games they make. They're just in this environment that says, you know what's way easier than you making your magnum opus? Something like Expedition 33 or Baldur's Gate. It's way easier for for you to make a game with a ton of problems, and we sell the fan on how to fix them. Until that changes, I think the majority of games will be complete mid-level trash for the foreseeable future. Hopefully indie games can fix it.